Around the world and across the ages, this is the September 2007 edition of The Cavern Today, a Mist Online Uru Live fan presentation. This is Sherry, your host for this podcast. On an individual journey basis, Yisha once called the explorers the movers of the least, which suddenly strikes me as something a bit ironic. As we explorers have contributed to the freedom of the Barrow, we have in a small way possibly contributed to the problems that will soon enough be brought to bear on the cavern as we know it. Unsettling though that is, it's still always comforting to know that if the cavern as we know it should be brought low by the impending catastrophe, at least we'll all be in good company. In this podcast, we are both celebrating the latest and one of the most distinctive episodes of Uru Live, as well as the 2-year anniversary of our podcasting efforts. Yes, indeed, the Cavern Today's news and variety show has been around for 2 years. Now, listening to all of the podcasts from 1 through 28, you really get to see a progression of how the community and the news have changed over the last 2 years. We started in a time where there was little hope of a return of Uru Live, and that the activities explorers could devise for the shards were all the activity you would hope to see in Uru. Now, 2 years later, we've changed gears multiple times as the whole of Uru has changed from the Demolished Shard to today's Live, where we now report the goings-on in Cavern. Our show today usually devotes about one half of our programming to in-cavern news, 1/4 to explorer-related initiatives, and the remaining 1/4 for our variety segments. We hope that throughout our podcast we've struck a healthy balance and that you, our listeners, enjoy hearing every bit as much as we enjoy putting it together for you. With this podcast, we'll be bringing you our latest news, a few words from our sponsors, a 2-part TCT talk, and we'll have more on that later, a new Mad Lib, a strangely displaced extra brought to us from the future. You know, the guys never really told me how that happened. A musical piece by our own Jeff Wise called Nola Bennett Sunset, and last but not least, another quirky thought from TCT's longtime commentator, the one and only Moog. We hope you enjoy Podcast 29, where the deceived come to explore. And now, we turn things over to Nareem for the latest news. Take it away, Nareem.
Hello, this is Nareem with your TCT News Report. This month has seen some of the most interesting and varied events yet to occur in the Cavern. The progression towards a new guild system has been furthered by the opening of 5 new guild pubs, while some other new areas have also been opened up to explorers. And not 1, but 2 former DRC members have made a return to the Cavern, with news about the Barrow conflict, and also about certain people well known to the community as being key figures in the history of the D'ni. But first, a long-term initiative recently put into place by the DRC has created quite a buzz in the Cavern. The word on everyone's lips? Guilds. Yes, love them or hate them, the guilds have taken up a central spot in the Cavern's focus recently. These 5 guilds have been bolstered by the unveiling by the DRC of 5 new official guild pubs. These pubs, similar in design and layout to the Watcher's Sanctuary, are all individually decorated according to the guild they represent. Access to these pubs is restricted based on what Kirel guild shirt you wear. So, if you wear a cartographer's shirt displaying your support of that guild, then you can only access that pub. A guild advisor at Telti, however, has informed us that explorers can still change their shirts at Kirel and thus gain access to a new pub whenever they want. At least for now. Well, while no new rages have been released this month, there have still been several new areas released. It is now possible to reach Douglas Sharper's spy room via a Barrow linking stone. As a public service announcement, the DRC would like to remind the community that the DRC have no control over the stones and would advise extreme caution when using them, if you are to use them at all. Also recently discovered is a link to Phil's Relto. It doesn't appear that he uses his Relto anymore, but it is hoped by many that it will reveal some more information about Mr. Henderson, in particular his recent journeys through the ages. However, most explorers seem most concerned with how he manages to have nighttime in his Relto, but it seems that will be one secret left for another time. By far the biggest piece of news this month is the return of not only Mr. Michael Emberg, but also Dr. Richard A. Watson, former leader of the DRC, who has been absent since the initial closure of the cavern. Neither seem to desire returning to the DRC Council, but they have both imparted much information to the community as a whole. Dr. Watson seems to corroborate much of what Phil told us last month, namely that he has journeyed to Ralishan and there met Yisha, and also that there is a growing conflict between two different factions of Barrow. He has particularly warned us not to be deceived and lulled into a false sense of security due to the relative peace in the cavern, and it is only the actions of the good Barrow that have kept us safe. Another interesting piece of news provided by Dr. Watson is that he has also met with Atris, the main figure in much of the more recent Denis history we have, history on which was based Cyan's Myst series of games. Interestingly, Dr. Watson has also revealed that the events of Myst 5 were in fact based on himself, and that he was the one who returned to the Barrow their golden tablet, thus freeing them and allowing them to choose their own directions, which has resulted in the current conflict. Dr. Watson has advised us to remain united in order to survive and has pointed to the guilds as a possible defense against the Barrow, a fact that has further fanned the flames and prompted more activity on the guild's front. Everyone now seems to have an interest in the guild system. In fact, even this news reporter has found a guild that has piqued his interest. I'm going to go and have a chat with one of their representatives right now. But for now, this is Nareem for the Cavern Today, signing off. Oi, Janathus, I'm going to take 10. Yeah, no, so I'm only going to be gone for 10 minutes. Alright, thanks.
Yo, Shora. Well, this is Dusty, Union Boss, Guild Master of the GOPSW. Are you looking for the perfect guild to suit your skills? A guild that will give you notoriety. A guild that will have people pointing and talking whenever you're in the cavern? Well, then come to Kirrol and join the Guild of Plumbers and Sewage Workers, Local 38. Yo, you look like a dude searching for the perfect guild to impress your old buddies.
Yeah. Is it safe?
Of course.
I see. Does your guild have an official t-shirt?
Sure does, bro.
But that's a white t-shirt with mud splattered all over it.
Well, brown is the official guild color. And that ain't mud.
Gee, I don't know. As attractive as that sounds. It smells.
Plus, we'll throw in these steel-toed work boots.
Oh, they are nice.
Yeah, you just have to wander around that desert age until you find them. Oh, at night.
I'm going to have to think about this.
Well, I'll tell you what, bro. You join our guild, and we'll set you up with our free lunch program. Show 'em, Joe.
What's that he's eating?
Well, it's like a really hard salami. We cook 'em up in that place with the big mixing bowls. They're great with a little mustard.
You eat a kind of food pellets?
Whoa! Bad batch.
I've really got to go. Bye.
He'll be back. Anyway, come to Kirrol and join the Guild of Plumbers and Sewage Workers, Local 38. 'Cause there is such a thing as a free lunch.
Podcast 29 was originally slated to be completed a week ago, and as such, a TCT Talk was done for this podcast with the intentions of doing a follow-up TCT Talk later to get a before and after take on the episode. As fate would have it, delays did occur, and we will be able to offer both the before and after in this podcast. We now give you the first part of TCT Talk.
Well, welcome back to another episode of TCT Talk, the Cavern Today's roundtable chatterbox about the goings-on in Myst Online Uru Live. Actually, we spend more time rambling than anything else, but we hope you'll listen in with us anyway. With us today we have
Alhan,
Anthony,
Janathus,
Wolfgang,
and me, Narium. Well, let's start off with TCT's anniversary. It's actually been 2 whole years since we started up, guys. Who's been here the longest?
Oh goodness! Now who has been here the longest? Alhan, were you with TCT before me?
I don't know. We joined around the same time, I think.
Really?
I started January or February.
No, I know you were there before me because I participated in the shortwave, which was already your gig by that point.
Okay, and I guess I'm the old fart.
I remember seeing posts about somebody liking your voice or something.
Oh dear. Must have been some twisted, demented person.
Well, yes it was, but who shall remain nameless. Anyway.
Yes.
or the voice of the shortwave.
So let's start. You're now the TCT Extra. Let's hear about your long and sordid history.
Well, the TCT, it started off as, I guess, the TCT shortwave. Then it became the CCN shortwave, then the TCT/CCN shortwave, then the TCT shortwave again, and now it's the TCT Extra. I have a bad history with name changes, but I don't really... It was actually around before I joined, but it was just kind of there. It was we had it, but we weren't really doing anything with it. And the producer at the time said, "Well, we've got this feed here. I want you to do a show, make up something." So it became kind of a community news outreach type show. And later, until Uru and Demolish showed up, then it became a news show. And of course, once Uru Live came up, it was very much a flash news show, getting things out the day of happening so that we wouldn't have to wait the month or 2 weeks or however many it was at the time.
Now you've been trying to cover the episodes in depth so people can catch through audio what they could otherwise read in text chats.
Mm-hmm. It's been pretty crazy, especially once those episodes started up. The workload went crazy.
Yeah.
And who else is collaborating with you on the Extra?
Well, right now, I guess my lackey is Vid. He's been doing a lot of work, and there was a month where I don't know if I was sick or I had to take a leave from the shortwave for some reason, and he basically took over and claimed the Extra as his own project and saved it from being complete ruin. So I have to give props to him, and also Steve Crocs, our other producer, and I think Morris has even worked with us on a couple of episodes. So,
ooh, moving to one of our other projects, the written word, the archiver, the spoken written word.
The something.
Something
right?
word. Yeah. Well, basically, I'm pretty sure I was on the archiver before I actually joined TCT.
Yeah, you were.
That was like beginning of this year. Beginning of this year, yeah. Beginning or right at the end of last year. Anyway, basically the archiver is sort of Alumnut's pet project that he had going previously, way back in Until Uru, I think it was. Just as like a newsletter to cover goings on in the Cavern as well as out of the Cavern, so as to distinguish it from that other magazine that was around, the Echo, because I think he assumed that it would someday come back. Anyway, I think he got out two issues before he was unable to continue it just because of the manpower it took to get the thing running. And so he stopped with 2. And basically, I think it was him and Steve Crocs, who tried to resurrect the thing and posted in a couple of places asking for people to help out.
Yeah.
And that sort of attracted my attention and a couple of others, Lego Addict, Gitira, and a couple of others as well. And so we basically, we signed on to that. And I think Al was even a bit surprised with how many people he actually enlisted to get on. Because I think just in that one hit, he had more people than he never had back in the Until Uru days. And so I think he basically decided to evolve it from just like a 7-page newsletter into a full-fledged 20-plus page magazine. And that's basically how it's been since issue 3. And yeah, I inherited it off him. I think it was issue 7. M. Tiger V, who's actually... It's a bit weird because the position of editor-in-chief is sort of divided into 2. I basically edit articles, arrange stuff, and organize, and yell at people and tell them to get stuff done on time. And that's basically my job.
Like.
As I said, TCT, I don't say yelling, I say nagging.
Yeah.
Quite as mean.
I meant it sarcastically. My position, I don't really tell people what to do as such. I just facilitate people getting stuff into one place and being able to publish it. I really don't care what people write as long as it's like appropriate. And
as a reminder, your stories are due tomorrow. As a reminder, your stories were due yesterday.
We deal with that fairly often.
But yeah, basically, I don't really care. Like, as long as people are happy to write stuff and actually send it in, that's all I want. But yeah, basically, I just edit, and M. Tiger V is in charge of assembly, so he puts the thing together and makes it look nice and pretty. I think he actually uses Apple Pages, so you Mac people will be happy with that. The Mac people. But yeah, it's really sort of taking off right now, I think.
And you also are a collaborator for the news part of the Cavern Today podcast.
Yeah, well, that was. I think you approached me about that, Janephis, and said, "I need people to write news. Write news. Go write news." And I'm like, okay.
You're a writer.
And, yeah, well,
I don't even know if I knew he was a writer. I'm like, well, I think you could be a writer.
You're a writer.
You look like a writer. Yeah. Well, I can't see you, but you look like a writer.
Yeah.
But
and
yeah.
with a little bit of yelling, you managed to actually produce some decent audio too.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, now, if people compare my earlier news stuff with what I'm with now, you'll notice that it's actually a lot better because I've got a shiny new USB headset. Hurrah! Yeah. And so now Nathan can stop nagging me about audio and just nag me about my cruddy bandwidth.
And
Even Ben.
I'll find pronunciation things to hit on as well. I'm never at a loss for things to complain about.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're always looking for things to point out.
Well, nothing's ever perfect. There's always room for improvement. So, moving on to the meat, the project that started it all. The podcast. The almost senior member, or the mostly senior member, or partially senior member, that's me, of this particular conglomeration. I think, as Elhan mentioned, I started a little bit after him. And we... when I started, I worked in the shortwave piece, but what really drew me to the project was the podcast. It had a good flow. I started listening with podcast 5, the interview with Ryan Miller, and it really caught my interest because of the JOTC. They did the episodes 1 through 5 at the time. Mog's interview with Ryan Miller. Those were the things that really stood out in my mind, and they had some music, and I was wondering where the music came from. I think it was around podcast 8. I finally plucked up the courage to hit the forum and say, hey, where'd you get the music from? And so somewhere around podcast 11, I came on board, did my shortwave thing, and although I really wanted to try my hand at the podcast, but I bought my first microphone then, and it was a Logitech, and it was a terrible microphone because it was line level, and it had a lot of noise it would generate. So I've gradually beefed up my hardware through my tenure in the podcast, and I finally found the opening to get into the podcast show by doing a tech piece offered to someone else originally, but that someone else didn't step up to the plate. And Anthony, I don't know if did you show up right then, or were you already kicking around the project then?
I had started back in May, which was before the tech piece, but I was the one who said, hey guys, maybe we should do a tech piece. It seems like it'd be a good idea.
That was May 2006, and I started February 2006. So yeah, it's we got together and we decided to start arguing tech, and what a lot of fun that's been.
Yep.
And I also did a couple of interviews for the shortwave around the liaison time, and so I kind of cut my teeth on some interviews, and therefore I was readily available, which is a nice way of saying I have no life and I'm always online. So Supergram snagged me a couple times for interviews when she couldn't grab anyone else, and she had the scientist on the line. And so that's how I ended up doing a couple interviews. I actually requested an interview. I did the interview with Tim Larkin. That was the one that I wanted to do, because if there's one thing that really speaks to me of any environment, game, movie, whatever, it's always the music. I'm always big on the music, so I wanted to talk to him. Mm-hmm. And that was when I learned how horrible Power Gramble can be for recording. So as time went on, I just kind of had picked up enough, I don't know, I want to say seniority, that's not really it. I've put in enough activity that Steve was starting to kind of slack off because he had some real life demands on his time. So he said, well, who would be a good shot to try as editorial producer? I said, I'll give it a shot, and I had no idea what editorial producer was. So I was like, oh, I'll try it. That sounds like fun.
I was so surprised when you volunteered for that one.
And Anthony, weren't you the one kind of like poking fun? I'm like, I should have warned you at the time. I didn't know that you didn't know what you were getting into.
Yeah.
And Steve wrote the first storyboard. I'm like, well, this is easy. I got a storyboard. And before you know it, I realized that was it really sucks up your time managing this project.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does. Of course, I got myself into that too eventually, but it's another story.
But that was when I was having my animals were having health issues, and they were sucking up my time, my money, and well, time and money. I guess that's really all you need to suck up, because I had school and work at the time, and I had a lot of things. I had to feed a cat through a feeding tube every 4 hours, and that was really cutting into my sleep. And come home on lunch, feed the cat, go back to work, come back from work, feed the cat. Oh, not fun. Yeah. So Anthony stepped up to the plate around that time and became, what do we end up naming you?
Managerial producer.
Which is wonderful. I hope you could just do that forever, and I'll just do the assemblies.
Yeah.
Wolfgang is our newest member.
Yep.
When did you start?
Actually, probably a couple podcasts ago. I was around, I joined the forum back, last year, right around last year's Mysterium, when we met Moog, and my cousin Ken, he introduced me to all of this. Except I kind of fell off the map until about 3 podcasts ago, was it? Right after TCT Talk started? A couple episodes ago. And I've been doing these.
It's always like when you first came in, I said, well, we'll see if he'll try, and if you don't, well, we have others.
Yes, but I'm trying.
That's basically our rank policy.
Well, I'm always like, if anyone wants to try something, I'm willing to let them try. It's not. Yeah. There's no reason not to. It's just, if people let us down frequently enough, then we realize not to trust them or to rely on them.
I don't think I've let you down yet.
No, you haven't. No, but we have seen it over time with others.
We have had a few times.
And, it maybe deservedly so. This is not a paying job.
Yeah.
So it's, we pay you all kinds of nothing. There's a little more nothing to go with your nothing pay,
Oh,
the archive gives people raises.
Speaking of which, when do I get my bonus?
Your bonus of nothing?
10% bonus of everything you've made this year.
So,
come join the archiver, Wolfgang. We'll give you a 20% raise in whatever the TCT is giving you.
20% of nothing?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what is that? Enough?
20% zero is...
No.
Oh, zero? Yeah.
20% zero is zero.
But 20% of nothing is... no.
No, but it's more prestigious nothing, because you're getting 20% more of it.
Actually, I think 20% of nothing is actually no.
Well, that... interesting.
Was totally random.
So, what is it that drew everyone to the podcast? What brought you here in the beginning?
Let's work backwards from me, since I was the last one to talk. Well, Ken was the one who introduced me to it, but I think the main thing was I just wanted to do something. Like, it was something different. I had never done recording, I had never done podcasts or any of this stuff, so I decided, what the heck, I'll give it a try. And so, here I am, trying.
Narium?
Trying ever so hard. What?
Narium?
Yes, so much
You're
fun.
next.
Well, basically, it was just. I think I was attracted a lot by sort of the people as well. Not so much Eugenathus, so don't worry about that. But yeah, just
horrible people.
Just the real community vibe about it, and like Eugenathus said, it's not really like a sort of a hierarchical workplace type area. It's just all about sort of trying to get the best product out there and doing it whilst having a bit of a laugh, which I think is what TCT talk is.
Even if they're at my expense.
Yeah.
They're always at your expense, Janathus.
Yeah.
So, Anthony, what drew you to the project?
Oh, well, I've been in the community for a long while, and I had finally decided, Steve was looking for some more people, and it was a good opportunity for me to be able to do something for the community, finally. I had helped Graham with several things, but this was something I could do steadily. It's kind of funny. Initially, I didn't do much because, when you start, it's kind of hard to figure out what to do.
That's one of the biggest problems we have with new members is, how to find your niche. We could open up whole new possibilities, or we could fit you into what we currently do. It's all just a matter of what people have time for.
I mean, several new projects have opened because people wanted something that they thought was good to do, and they proposed it, and it just took off.
They come to me like, Oliver Twist, please, can I try this project? I'm like, sure, go for it. You want some help? I can help you. It's whatever people want to do, we're very open to.
Stop asking me.
And I suppose the multifaceted nature of TCT now, having like audio and written and regular news update style of publication, is that if you don't think that you're necessarily cut out to do I suppose audio work, you can go and write stuff for the archiver, or there's like billions of things that you can do and different ways you can do it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And we're always willing to add new segments.
Always.
Yeah.
So
the archiver, just come sign up for the archiver.
What ended up getting me in the podcast was I complimented it, and the producer of the Times said, "Hey, you want to participate?"
You joined the
first and last compliment Janathus ever gave anything.
With you adding yourself.
Well, I said, "Hey, I love the podcast. When's the next one coming out?" And she's like, "Well, hey, you want to participate?" And I said, "Sure. I don't know what I can do, but hey."
You and compliments?
What? I never give compliments. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Somewhat.
It was a
More or
different
less.
time.
You don't get many compliments, but you get a lot of insults.
Well, I give backhanded compliments. You see, it's
And front-handed insults.
No kidding.
Good call.
Good job.
So Alhan, what started you on the project? How did you get in?
Well, I got in. I got in by basically because it was Journey of the Called that attracted me, because I've always been a fan of audio drama, and I had already been working a little bit on my own radio show called Centerpoint Arcade, which unfortunately has been on hiatus since last October, and I don't know if it'll ever come off. But I started just by making a few comments about the show, and then said, hey, I know I can do a little bit of mixing, I can do a little bit of writing, I can do a little talking if you want me to do some of this stuff. And they said, sure, come on in. We'll stick you someplace where we can't hear, see, or have you even known to the public. We'll stick you on the dead shortwave. And it kind of went from there.
You breathed some life into it.
I don't know if I'll go that far, but
Lo and behold, it
Well.
lives. As
the shortwaves evolved into the Extra, and the Extra's doing fairly well these days, I'd have to say you did.
yeah, well, that somebody else said it though. I'm always afraid when I'm hyping something. It's like, hey, listen to this. It's so good. It's so good. And I don't really know if it's that good, but I think it is.
So I guess that's the general theme around all of the Cavern today is anyone who wants to participate can, anyone who wants to join can, and we can. If you don't know what niche you can fit in, Either we'll find you one, or you can pick one. So there's all kinds of opportunities here.
But you have to let us know you're wanting to find one.
Oh yeah, you still have to show a little bit of initiative. And it's, hey, I'd like to try that. Like, well, but we'll slate you for the next one and give you a whirl. It's it's that easy.
Look how far it got me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now you're on TCT Talk, the most prestigious talk segment
The most
ever.
prestigious of babblings.
Exactly.
We're a very
Anyway.
prestigious organization. I mean, we're the
Because
oldest,
we're hardly organized.
or at least one of the oldest, depending on your definition, media organization in the cavern.
So moving
Oh, we
forward
need
with
to-
our
move on to the
talking
next
points
segment
here.
of rambling.
let's get onto the last episode. Just a little bit to say about that. How many people have tried games on it? In Jalak, I mean.
I have
We don't
no.
have Dalkin anymore.
Dalkin had
wasn't-
his.
Yeah,
I don't know,
Dalkin had the game
Dalkin
of
had
the,
his thing that he made up.
the
I've
quad
started playing-
soccer.
I've been actually making random sculptures with it. Like, I've been trying to see what shapes I can form just by changing the levels of those pillars and sticking random shapes everywhere.
So
That's-
what you're saying is you're expressing your existential inner self
Quandary?
through Jalak?
That, and I
That
had
about
fun
sums
rolling
it up.
balls downstairs. And then I kind of made the ramp roll down the stairs, too.
I imagine that Looney Tunes character, yup, rolling the ball.
That's great.
The coolest game I heard about, but it hasn't come my way, or I haven't experienced anyone who has it, is somebody created a marker hunt, I guess, where the markers are hidden behind the pillars. Which I guess, it could be rather easy because you just take each pillar down until you find it. But then, what if I guess the trick is trying to figure out the most efficient way of finishing it.
I know the most efficient way. You press the one that levels it all the way down to the bottom.
And then you try to jump. What if you're all too high?
Yeah, I know.
So
Still, you know where all of them
Might work
are
that way.
then.
it's still the trick would still be how to get the pillars lined up so you hit them all.
The pillows?
Pillars. I said pillars.
You said pillows.
I did not.
Did
I
you
heard
not say
pillows.
pillows?
I'll just go with it,
think
whichever hurts him the most, so pillows.
I think it's funny if we stay with pillows.
You folks think I have such a strong, delicate ego, and I don't. I'm not sensitive.
But it's fun thinking you do.
I'm not going to end the TC Talk piece. Oh, they picked on my poor ego. Oh.
If you had a weak ego, I would have never made it into being the managerial producer, You would have gotten rid of me years ago.
Now you can't do that. Get in the admin control panel. Just Anthony, delete him. So the Deceptions episode is coming up, and I think it's time to theorize. Just come up with whatever we think is going to happen. We've got
then
2
be wrong.
pictures and plenty to fuel our theories.
Party.
No, Alhon, what was your extra from the future report about again? That was I think that was
Oh, it's actually going to be. Something popped up on our server, and we figured it was worth airing. Random glitch involving I don't know what it was. It's like Miles and Steve and Anthony were all working on the servers and the feeds, and
We
then there was
managed to produce a quantum entanglement drawing over some information from the future that was on the
along with the
server.
pot of petunias
Yeah,
and a baby
pretty much.
sperm whale.
exactly.
Yeah,
But
it was kind of
I've
weird.
like I've actually
That poor pot
I
of
actually had a look at that.
petunias.
I actually had a look at that report, and I think that's so credible.
I know, it's scary.
That's what's going to happen.
I mean,
we're
it's-
violating so many temporal rules by doing this.
Yeah, but we're not bound up by the temporal prime directive.
No,
Yeah.
we're not, but still dangerous.
Yet.
Like they never got us.
Yeah. I love that.
So the preview coming soon page shows a picture of a nighttime Relto.
Finally,
So is that a page or is that Phil's Relto?
Finally, something for Janathus to brood in.
Good question.
Oh my
Let's
god.
all vote. Who thinks it's Phil's real?
I think it's Phil's Relto.
It does look incredibly like it.
Notice that
I
it's
don't
not
think
like
so.
it's not a recent Relto with recent changes.
Yeah, it doesn't have the mushrooms or
And remember that Phil lacks his Relto book.
Mm-hmm.
yet.
So it's
I still
Might
think it's a
be
page. I think
it would be nice if it was a page.
I want it to be a page because I want that page.
Wasn't it?
Well, maybe
even a page in the original? I don't think it was.
No, it wasn't.
Nope.
No, it wasn't.
It was just
It never
a
No,
was.
it was just his.
It was just supposed to be, oh no, it's depressing because the guy's quote-unquote dead.
Yeah, he gets all this stuff and we don't. I mean, he even had a full bookcase.
He had full bookcase.
That
Who's to say, though?
That we couldn't use.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who's
He
to
had
say,
one
though,
book
that-
in it that we could use.
I mean, I reckon though that you go to Phil's Relto, and there in Phil's Relto is a nighttime page. Like, who's to say that you don't get both of them?
Or maybe his Relto book is still in his Relto. Who knows? What I think is here's me predicting the future.
Yeah.
Phil's
Yeah,
Relto,
Janathus the clairvoyant hat.
once upon a time,
Karnak the... whatever.
got us to Kirel, the neighborhood. But we can get to the neighborhood now. So I predict the neighborhood will be the path to Phil's Relto. That's my prediction.
That the borrower
You would
just
think
found
you
a
would
book in the
notice
link
it
room?
then. When, like, oh, my Relto's in Corel now. I should go pick that up instead of saying, I'll just leave it
Well,
here.
there are 2 doors that are
I
magically
theorize
locked.
Sharper is going to leave us the book.
There are two
Yeah,
two
because did
locked
Sharper
doors.
have it for how
Yes,
long?
he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon Baba Goobu will make a comeback.
Anyways, Janathus is saying something.
There are 2
Who
locked
cares?
doors in Kirel.
Well,
One of them may open, or both. Who knows?
or none of them,
Yes.
just to spite you.
So the other
Like,
announced
oh no, here's Janathus, we better remain locked.
the other announced feature is the guild pubs. Now, isn't that one curtain behind the cone and the stopper barrier? Isn't that the path to the guild hall?
But is it the guild hall or are these individual pubs? Because it looks a darn lot like the Watcher Sanctuary.
Oh,
That
here
might
comes another
just be-
prediction. Here comes. Here comes.
Everyone shut up.
We're going to go down that pathway and find a 5-way hallway linking to all the various guild pubs. There. That's my prediction.
It would be nice if it was. That would mean they'd actually open up more of the city.
You know, someday I want to
That'd be
be able
cool.
to walk down that path, climb into the guild hall, and start digging. But you know, that's
Well, it needs to be
another-
lighted because it's a little scary.
That's a plan. I plan to dig through the floor of the guild hall.
Are you kidding? I'm putting on my
Yeah,
zombie
the dark.
costume there.
Yeah, but
For
you need a level 4 hammer or shovel to do it.
Plus
Well,
2.
And he had some pretty hard materials, but I'm persistent.
And you need to roll a d20. you need a 20 initiative check.
Plus 5 hammer of dig
Kneecapping.
mighty digness. I don't know. Oh, the Diglett.
Mighty Digness.
For those of the uninitiated listening, we are making random Dungeons and Dragons role-playing game number quotes, usually found in other online games, but not in Uru, thankfully.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be so much more complicated if that was there.
Just imagine like if your clothing had levels.
My level 4 banana yellow shirt.
Well, I was thinking more so like the Maintainers suit.
Your hat has...
Oh, well, you've beaten the wall so many
Has
times.
leveled up.
You have the level 10 Maintainer suit. I'm like, oh,
You can actually go on to the supernova world.
I've got the
Weren't
level
they implying
1.
that the wall was going to be opened?
I've heard
That
rumors
would be
about
nice.
the wall getting open finally.
The wall getting open would be nice. They're getting close. The panel is now flickering and, I don't know, doing whatever
Well,
panels
then-
do.
Somebody pointed that out, and then someone said, oh yeah, 2 episodes ago it was like that.
Well, it's
Well,
becoming more and more lit. I've been noticing. I keep going back every episode, and it seems to be getting closer and closer to completion.
Maybe that's just responding to us lighting the light.
That would be completely unrelated.
Yes. Well, but kind of along the same lines of things glowing, what do you think might come of the little key nightlight that we've been getting in Descent lately?
Nightlight.
At the moment, it's nothing more than a flickering light.
Yeah, but I mean,
Well, now it lasts a
it
whole
is getting
minute.
better. Yeah, it's
It lasts a
actually
whole
getting more
minute
powerful.
now? Oh,
A
wow.
whole minute.
See,
I
So fall
want it
asleep
to
fast.
the point where I can put it in, pull it out, and be able to turn it on and off at will.
but
That-
I
see,
mean,
that comes
what do you
with
think
the
the purpose
patch.
might be?
What if we just have to take it somewhere and put the key in something, and then it activates something important?
You know, that would have been a whole lot more logical solution to the puzzle in, what is it? Yeah,
What is it?
Chemo.
Huh?
Huh?
Oh, with the fireflies.
The light
the
in...
Firefly.
Oh, yeah.
Or Gira,
like
whichever one's the fire.
It was That was both. You had to get the fireflies from Chemo and take them to Gira.
Yeah, instead, you can just grab your nightlight, walk up there, turn it on.
And of course, the fireflies don't like falling in water. They don't like it when you jump twice. And
so you could get the light, stomp through the water, and then...
Yeah.
But
yes, but that would take the frustration out of it.
But you can only do that if you're saying neener, neener, neener. So it's the only way you can do that.
How about neat?
Some money. No.
Okay, that one's going to have to be cut.
And they were forced to eat Robin's minstrels, and there was much rejoicing.
Yay!
Well, that's pretty much all we have time for now, I think. Tune in the next week or so when we actually have a podcast 29.5 and check out how many of our bizarre, crazy, and zany predictions actually come true.
Mine weren't zany, by the way.
Yes,
yeah, but I still predict a near 0% of them being accurate.
Okay.
Yeah.
But near 0 isn't 0.
20% of 0.
Goodness gracious.
No, that's 0.
Well, this is
Alhan,
Anthony,
Janathus,
Wolfgang,
and me, Narium, signing off.
A full month had passed as the moon came around to full once more. Atreus made his way idly up the slope, whistling to himself one of the songs Anna had taught him as a child, a Denise song that had the simplest of tunes. As he whistled, he heard Anna's voice in his head, softly singing the refrain. As he came to the end of it, he looked up and stopped dead, staring open-mouthed at the sight that met his eyes. Ahead of him, the whole of the upper slope was wreathed in a thick cloud of brilliant white vapor. As if a thick curtain had suddenly been dropped over the volcano's edge, the mist slowly roiled, like the steam on the surface of a cooking pot, neither advancing nor retreating, yet turning in upon itself constantly. It was so strange, so unlike anything Atreus had ever seen, that he stepped back, suddenly afraid. And as he did, a man stepped from within that glistening whiteness, seeming for a moment almost to be part of it. A tall, unearthing figure with a large forehead and strong, straight nose, over the bridge of which were strapped a pair of glasses, identical to Atreus' own, the white cloak flapping out behind the stranger, giving him the appearance of some great mythical king. Rooted to the spot, Atreus watched the stranger walk down the slope towards him, his fear transformed to awe by the strength and energy, the controlled power and cold assurance of the creature who approached. Atreus staggered back, astonished. Above him the figure stopped, and lifting the thick lenses that covered his eyes, squinted down at Atreus. "I see you have my glasses."
Was that familiar? Do you remember Atreus' first adventure? Is it fresh in your memory? Why not come and relive the Mist stories with some friendly explorers? The Cavern Book Club meets every Tuesday at 1600 Cavern Time. Currently we're reading the Book of Atreus, so come join us at the Cavern Book Club Hood and join in the telling.
The Mad Lib is becoming a regular staple of comedy around here at TCT, although most of the team have learned not to saddle anyone with such crazy numbers as 4,387,242.5, which is a real shame that such a pleasure was reserved 4,387,242.5 times for me. Oh well. It's time to hear Alhan's challenging recitations. Good luck, Alhan.
Hey everyone, this is Alhan for the Cavern Today, bringing you this month's Mad Lib. Now, if you remember back 2 podcasts ago, I think that was in 27, Sherry brought us her slightly modified rendition of Yisha's speech at the beginning of the Journey of the 5 Ages. And last month, Moog brought us his beautiful, touching, moving version of Shakespeare's Sonnet number 18, which, in my opinion, needed the spicing anyway. So, I guess the dice was rolled, and it's my turn to bring you something. And today I'm going to bring you a little speech that, again, we heard at the beginning of the journey. But, in the most part, it's the speech that we heard even before Yisha's. Yeah, that old fat guy who's sitting outside of his trailer, good old Jeff Zandy. Well, you know how it goes. So, I'm Zandy. I probably know more about why you're here than you do. Don't worry, you felt drawn here just like the others. I'm not really here to give you answers, just to give you help and get you started. She's left a message for you in the cleft. Listen to it well. Follow her. Find the journeys and then enter the tree, and check with me if you need help. Pretty simple speech, pretty short speech. But, as usual, the staffers here at TCT had to go and screw it all up. So, for your enjoyment, I present the Cavern Today's edition of Zandy's opening speech.
Hey, welcome. So, I'm Janathus. You probably fail more about why you're here than you do. Don't coordinate about it. You felt hanged here, just like the apricots. I'm not really here to give you whiz-bangers, just to give you a brick and get you started. She swiped a message for you in the big ska country. Listen to it well. Follow her. Discombobulate the journeys. And then enter the hat. Oh, and to be or not to be with me if you need a donkey.
So there you have it. For the Cavern Today, this is Alhan, signing off.
The Cavern Today is now pioneering a method to bring you news. Now, through some strange coincidence, we're finding extras in our archive that are dated into the future, meaning we are bringing you news in advance of the goings-on that they are reporting. Guys, how did you do that? But anyway, if that isn't innovation, I don't know what is.
This is Vid reporting for the Cavern Today Extra with this breaking news bulletin. Kate Alexander has scheduled a press conference in the Watcher's Sanctuary for all members of the Cavern Press to comment on the violent occurrences yesterday. We are awaiting her arrival, and word has gotten out among the Cavern community. The sanctuary is currently full of people keeping watch. While we wait for her arrival, let's recap the events leading up to this. Yesterday afternoon, while Miss Alexander, leader of the DRC, was in Douglas Sharper's office, 2 Baro Noir warriors blinked into the building in an apparent assassination attempt. Sharper was able to kill one quickly, but was unable to stop the second from attacking Miss Alexander. By the time that Sharper was able to fend off the attackers, Miss Alexander had suffered severe lacerations to her face and damage to her voice box. A mixture of Denis and surface treatments were able to keep the damage mostly cosmetic. While she could possibly have the scars removed and her voice return to normal, she chose to leave them as they are. What's that? Okay, we're getting word that Miss Alexander has begun the press conference. We will bring you that conference right now, live.
The Baro assault has been foiled.
The entire DRC has shown up. For those listening on our audio-only feed, standing to Kate's left is Secretary of Defense Douglas Sharper, and standing to her right is DRC member and Secretary of Restoration Dr. Ikuro Kodama.
Will be hunted down and defeated. The attempt on my life has left me scarred and deformed. But I assure you, my resolve has never been stronger. In order to ensure security and continuing stability, the cavern shall be reorganized into the Second Dunni Empire for a safe and secure Dunni society.
This has been a TCT Extra special report. We now return you to your regularly scheduled program. For the Cavern Today Extra, this is Vid signing off.
Welcome back to more TCT Talk. Today we're back with
Wolfgang,
Janathus,
Anthony,
Nareem.
And back from the surface, finally, it's me, Sherry.
You've been gone?
Yes, I've been gone. I've been on the surface. Shoot me. Okay. So
Sharper
let's...
Sharper will shoot everyone.
Don't get me started on Sharper, boys. Don't get me started on Sharper. Nothing good can come from that. Okay, but let's go back to what you guys were talking about last time, the predictions. Now, there was a list of, looks like 6 of them, and there's predictions from Janathus, Alhan, Nareem, and Anthony on here. And let's go to the right ones first. Which the right ones were, the dark Relto picture is Phil's Relto. Yes, Janathus, you were correct. Way to go. And the other one was... the other one was Sharper will leave us the link to Phil's Relto. And that was Anthony. Way to go, guys. Janathus and Anthony get one apiece, but to our friend
You've won
Alhan,
nothing.
And now for the failure.
Yes, and now we go to Alhan, who said that the dark Relto is a page for our Relto. Alhan, that would be the nighttime page for our Reltos will be in Phil's Relto. Mr. Nareem.
How many times is Nareem wrong?
Nareem
1 out of 1.
4,300,568. Whatever. You know, Nareem, I'm going to keep that. You know what? You're going to put down. You're going to put down your Relto book, and I'm going to be there. And then, it's like all of a sudden you hear, what was that?
Oh God!
Nareem, you forgot your book.
I'm being stalked by Sherry.
That's
Keep an eye out. She's dangerous.
Yeah, that's right. And then the other one, there's 2 more wrong ones, which were how do you say that? Criel will be the path to Phil's Relto. Kirel will be the path to Phil's Relto. Janathus, that would be wrong. And
wrong.
And then, Janathus, you need to watch The Wizard of Oz, man. It says, ignore the man behind the curtain. Because down in the curtained area, it does not have a path that leads to all 5 pubs. So...
Wrong.
You think there isn't.
You're wrong. I only got 1 wrong.
Show me the proof. You think there isn't.
Those curtains still haven't opened up yet.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Oh, goodness.
So, we made it to Phil's Relto, looks like. Yes? How is Phil's Relto?
The same as ever.
It's somewhat changed.
It's rather dark, actually.
I like it that way.
Yes,
bipolar,
so
just like
crushed
Phil.
because he doesn't have his night Relto page to brood in.
I'll get that eventually. Don't you worry.
Just move into Phil's Relto. He doesn't seem to be using it.
Janathus can parade around his nice shiny DRC vest instead. Yeah. I'm sure he'll enjoy that.
Yeah, you guys keep stealing Phil's stuff.
He's not using it.
Okay, so Michael Ingberg is back.
Yes.
What's going on with Michael Ingberg? What's his deal?
I don't know. I thought that was kind of anticlimactic that he returned. I mean, I thought there would be more to that. I mean, maybe they didn't give us enough time to build up any anticipation. Like Dr. Watson, like, oh, when's he coming back? We know he's coming back. When's he coming back? And Enberg, like, oh, he's back. Oh, was he gone? Oh, okay, yeah, good.
Well, I think most people's reasoning in saying Michael Enberg wasn't going to come back was that he hadn't been away long enough. So yeah, it's a bit surprising to see him back already. But
there you go, making sense.
Oh, look, it doesn't happen very often. Savor it.
What does Michael Ingberg do?
Wasn't he the head of the RC in Watson's stead?
He was like structural, architectural.
Oh, I thought we had to have an election or somebody was appointed after he left. I thought that was
no one was actually ever appointed to replace Watson on the council. They just had Waxman take over his duties until Watson would return.
But Michael Enberg was officially replaced by Kate, was he not?
Yes.
At least on the council, I think they said Res Engines were taking up the architectural, structural side of things.
Yeah, he was replaced by good old 2 votes Kate on the council.
Yes. But I mean, is Michael actually going, has he said whether he's going to take up a position on the council again, or is that not been discussed at all?
Someone, maybe it was Kate, I'm not sure, said he expressed no interest in rejoining. No, that was Watson. They said expressed no interest in rejoining.
Okay.
They mentioned Enberg, but I'm not exactly sure what they said. It might have been something along the lines of...
Hey, is Watson carrying a Relto book?
I don't know.
I was curious if he's not carrying a Relto book, and he's been in contact with Yisha, then he can link spontaneously. He's a level 10 linker.
He is Dr. Watson.
That's
well, people have taken pictures, but yeah.
I really love it. You know, I mean, I went into Cavern a while back, and it was right after Watson had gone into the Watcher Sanctuary and told everybody, we're all going to die, and he's running around like a hysterical. And, you know, and for me, it was just like, okay, dude, whatever crack you're smoking, stop. Because last time I checked, yeah, we all have Relto books. What's going to happen?
Yeah, but the Borrow can link. They can follow you.
Well, there's also the fact that
people have had Borrow in there.
Willie and whatever. Willie and who was the other person who was with her?
Rose.
Rose. Their Relto books were rendered useless by the Borrow.
That too.
Yes.
Ooh, fun. Okay.
Convenient.
Yeah,
so your theory that the Bravo did not present a danger is mistaken, Miss Sherry.
Oh, is it? Okay. Well, you know, I just think
you are mistaken.
Guys.
You are wrong.
Wrong.
No, I still want to borrow plushie, though. I'm sorry. I want a plushie. I want to sleep with my borrow. Anyway.
We didn't need to hear that.
Borrow plushie. Well, then edit
that will
it
be
out.
stricken from the record.
So he's been hanging out with Phil?
Yeah.
Watson. Getting back to Watson. He's been hanging out with Phil?
Well, because they were both sort of traipsing around the ages together, weren't they?
Kind of, yeah.
That was... They
Wouldn't it
met
be cool
up
if we had some
several
sightings? Like, people would just see them link in and out.
Yeah.
Oh, just on the tour.
Well,
see you later.
Whenever Watson
there are
appears,
people here.
apparently he leaves a long chain of speeches behind him.
Oh,
It's like an English dictionary that's bleeding.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have found out that Yisha is still traipsing about.
Yes, she's searching for a way to protect us from.
Don't steal my
Borrow
words,
War.
Sherry.
So apparently she can't find any answers in the Dinny Ages so far.
Well, because it's a problem the Dunny never faced.
Well, having said that, they've all apparently spent a lot of time in Relishan. I mean, Phil said last month that he'd been to Relishan. Dr. Watson has said that he's been to Relishan as well. And that they've talked to Yisha, and also, do we get like a drum roll or something?
Okay.
Okay, that's it.
Atris! They've actually both said that they've actually. So that's pretty interesting, and I think Dr. Watson sort of, well, not necessarily came out and said, but that he sort of alluded to the fact that maybe Atris will actually turn up at some stage. Whether that's actually going to happen or not is sort of uncertain, but that would certainly be pretty wow.
Yes.
To have him pop up.
Only if the ratings require it. I'm sorry, I didn't say that.
What ratings are you speaking of, Jonathan?
Ratings.
The key pellet dropping ratings. Yeah, that's it. That's what I said.
Pellets dropping.
Atris is going to come drop his special pellets.
Oh dear! Atris is just going to come and drop pellets into the lake. He's old. I mean,
he is a plus 10 pellet dropper.
Oh man, there's something wrong with you guys.
Very much so, guys.
We already established that.
Okay, but so we've so Yisha and Atris are running around. I wonder if they're having any good father-daughter moments. And let's see, the Borrow War has spread to hundreds of ages, including Relishan.
Oh dear.
Is that? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's sort of that was the whole point of the deception, wasn't it? Was sort of we have this sort of idyllic, well, not necessarily idyllic, but it's relatively peaceful in the cavern, mainly because the good Barrow are apparently protecting us, or so Watson and Phil have sort of said. So, I mean, we really don't have a very good idea of sort of what's going on in the other ages, which is kind of freaky, actually. Yeah.
There's something weird that this age is so important that they were protected over other ones, though.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Well, somewhere in this age is where that tablet was originally stored, I believe.
In this one? How do we know?
It was in the cavern.
No.
Well, it was in a bubble.
It was never really in the cavern. It was stated it was kind of in
multi-dimensional bubble.
Well,
right.
Maybe it's because of this is where their savior came to release them. Because it is where we handed over the tablet.
But
true.
Didn't actually Dr. Watson actually said that he was the one who gave him the tablet, didn't he?
I heard something along those lines.
I'm pretty sure that's what he said. He actually said that in cavern somewhere. I can't find the chat log on me, but he actually said that he was the one who
Cyan is just stealing the story out from under us. That's what's happening.
They're supplying it, so I think it's theirs to steal.
Oh, okay, I guess that's right.
2 points for logic.
They're stealing from themselves.
Wolfgang with his +2 logic.
Yes.
+2 logic, long sort of logic. Yeah.
But
roll initiative.
Anyway, please, Sherry, steer the boat a bit more.
What?
Stop Wolfgang from. Stop Wolfgang from stealing the conversation.
You guys are having a good time without me, so I'm just hanging back. Okay.
No, steal it.
Please, take it away.
I don't want it.
But Nolabin. All right. Now, Nolabin we saw in End of Ages, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
actually, Richard Watson saw it in End of Ages, actually.
Okay.
Yes.
But Cyan made representation.
Richard Watson.
Long story short is...
Dr. Watson is in each of us.
Wait, is there an active link to Nolabin? Or is it just we say that we have been to Nolabin?
Well, there is not an active link available to us, but if you look at the note in Sharper's Baron's office...
DRC has a
link. You'll see that they mention the house on Nolabin is not empty, which means that they can get there, just they're not letting us go there.
Aha! Okay, and the Barrow War is going on in Nolabin?
Well,
heavy fighting?
I'll bring my paint gun, and I want some beach time, I'm telling you.
Well, just keep swimming.
Wish you were here from sunny Nolabin.
Actually, it makes sense that the fighting's pretty heavy, and especially heavy in Nolabin, considering that's where it's theorized that they came from.
What, the Barrow?
Yes.
Yes, or at least it was one of their home.
Ezra called it their home.
Wow. I don't know. I always thought it was a beautiful age. It would make sense. Well, the day they start giving us tablets and we can draw on them and actually tell the Barrow, rain, sleet, snow, kill...
Heart!
Well, I mean,
kill Sharper. Kill Sharper now. He is the evil one. I'm sorry.
Who's to say that they'll listen to the tablets anymore, though? If they've been freed.
By Watson.
Of course, I don't think they'll have any problems killing Sharper.
People start walking around the cavern with their tablets, and that'll just look silly.
Yeah.
Look what I drew.
Have tablet wars.
Go away.
Smiley face.
Yeah, and the Barrow links in and smiles at you and links out.
Yeah.
Cheese. Bye.
Yeah, exactly. He comes for a photo op.
Smile? Do they even have a mouth?
Yes, they do.
Somewhere.
Noises emit. There must be an orifice of some sort.
Maybe they just
Okay, now it also says that Sharper has left to help the good Barrow fight the war. Now, me personally, if I was one of those Barrow, let me tell you, I would grab that gun out of that fella's hand and shoot him square in the... I wouldn't stop. I wouldn't pass go. Wouldn't collect $200. Would just go pick up the gun and say, "Hey, Sharper, turn around," and shoot him square in the. Just whoop, and send him packing. Because the last thing we need is Sharper running around. To me, everybody's like, "Oh, who's the deceiver? Who's the deceiver?" I'm like, "Well, duh, Sharper." I'm sorry. He's my answer for everything evil. Oh, what's evil in cavern? Sharper. Oh, what's that slime underneath my boot? Sharper. You know, he's the answer for everything.
You could make that into a
have
song.
an obsession.
Could you frame that like a question, like in Jeopardy?
Yeah. Who's responsible for all this crap that's going on?
It's all this crap that's going on. What is Sharper responsible for?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Crap. Anyway, what is crap?
Who's evil in the cabin?
Anyway,
So let's be careful about the spoilers with moving on to the next stuff.
Okay.
Let us just say that in one of our previously visited ages, we found a link to the spy room. We were supposed to do the quartet thing.
But there's the quintet. There's five of us.
Don't know you anymore.
We just leave Anthony out.
Yeah, Anthony can't sing. We heard his Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Jeez.
I remember that. That was pretty awesome.
Anthony.
Yeah, why don't you try singing, Janathus?
I can sing.
Oh, dear Lord,
Okay.
don't make him get out, Sir Janathus. Don't do that to me.
And now, Janathus singing on TCT Talk. Take it away, Janathus.
I know you. I've walked with you once upon
And
a
he
dream.
sings Disney. He sings Disney. This is Cyan. This is not Disney. This is not the Mohawk Hour.
Sing them in Cutter.
I don't know
Janathus, sing them in Cutter Suite. There you go.
Chicka boom, chicka boom, chicka boom. Anyway, okay.
Thank you.
Now that
Made
we're
my
going
point.
Wow, we got really off topic there. What on earth were we talking about?
But we weren't spoiling anything, see?
No, we weren't spoiling.
Oh, we did well.
We just
yes, we
spoiled
were
them
at
with some of my great
Spy
singing,
Room.
that's all.
We were at Spy Room. We were at the
Spoiled
Spy Room,
my
and everybody
appetite.
went,
Spy room.
okay. So, now what
Baba
exactly
Goobu.
are we... are we... Babo Gubu is not there anymore. So...
No, not Baba Goobu.
Are we talking a different language that I don't know anymore?
Don't you remember
Yes.
Bob?
Chicka boom. Anyway.
Yes, I do. I was trying to be non-spoilery.
Oh, okay.
We're
well,
not being spoilery.
I think it's going to be a later revelation.
We don't have things to make us move faster.
It might
where
have
did
something
Bob
to do with
lead?
the colors thing.
Where did Bob lead anyway? I can't remember.
The egg room.
Oh, the egg room. But the egg room's already open.
There are two egg rooms. There's one in Kirel.
Ah, I see, said blind woman.
And if you notice, the classroom nor the egg room doors are open in Kirel.
Really?
No, they're not.
But there's not even any books on besides the Nexus book in their little book room. I was like, God, that place is really, it's, in disrepair. Somebody go in there, give it a few books, give it some stained glass, make it look like the other hoods, for
I have a
goodness sakes.
feeling that something is going to pop up there. I'm sure it's not going to be barren forever.
Like what?
Well, then again, I did say that about the pod, so, I guess I...
And you said that about the path to the 5 guild pubs behind the curtain? Yeah, that was a bit wrong, wasn't it?
Man.
Just because I can't, drive to you and hurt you doesn't mean I have no way of making my will known.
Google
You
Directions
could drive to me if you really wanted.
Google Directions does seem to think you can drive to Australia.
Does it?
Yes,
What's your
it
address?
tells
Let me
you-
try that. Let me put that
It
in.
tells you to stop at the ocean, then go across it, and then continue driving. As if you could just go across.
Get out your red cape with the red S on the front of your shirt.
That's not driving, that's flying.
Deploy your
Apparently
Iron Man armor.
Use your Messiah powers to walk across the water.
Me personally,
there we go.
I'd grow gills, hitch a ride on a big old whale, and get there.
Why would you need gills if you were hitching a ride on the whale?
They do
If
breathe
I'm hitching a
air.
ride on, I know that, but
But they
still.
could hold it for hours.
Yeah,
True.
there's your
I
answer.
suppose.
Hitch a ride with the whale. Be there in a couple of weeks.
Just
Anyway.
bring your personal submersible.
So now, once you go to the place you can get to from the spy room, you can now access it from your city book in your Aralto. I'm sorry, let me rephrase. You can now access the spy room.
Really? I did not know
Ah.
that.
Yes.
Neat.
From the city book. And then go to that place.
Wow.
Convenient.
Yes.
Very convenient.
Facilitating our spying. How nice of them.
Wow, yeah.
And it's a tight little spy room, so, I'm not going to spy much.
Isn't it neighborhood dependent? Depends on what neighborhood you're in.
I don't know how that makes a difference.
Well, because if you got a whole bunch of people jammed in the spy room, isn't it?
Isn't
what
it
do
only
they call that?
person by person?
No, it's not. It's
Instanced.
It is. I think it is. Yes.
It's instanced. So go with your neighborhood friends, because if you go with a friend that's not in your neighborhood, well, guess what?
You'll end up with their arm in your spleen.
No.
It turns it inside out and blows up. Anyway, sorry.
I have no friends, so no problems there.
Why do I have to
you
get
are
the
your
movie
own
reference and
island.
no one else does?
Yes.
Which movie was that from, Wolfgang?
Galaxy Quest.
Thank you. See, you guys need to play movie trivia with me, and I can absolutely kill. Except for the fact that they were going to go through and make a movie about like Myst, and they never did it.
Yeah, they couldn't. Last I heard, they couldn't agree or come to agreeable terms of how to carry the storyline, because the storyline is explored at random by the player in the game. You know, you don't have to read all the books all at once. You can read them in relation to your ages, whatever. And the movie, you know, of course, they had to lock down to a certain storyline, possibly the Book of Atris. Who knows what they were planning? And I guess the two just couldn't come to eye to eye. Actually, there was also an intention to possibly add a Myst Island attraction to Disney World.
Oh,
that would have. Wow.
I want a dual core processor.
Do you know what that means? Do you know what that means, Janathus? Do you know what that means?
You could go there anytime you wanted.
No, they would make borrow, and you could go up and have your picture taken with the borrow.
Goodness gracious.
I'm sorry. I love those guys, you know, want to run up, you know, put your arm around them, smile, poof.
And they eat you.
You realize that they're not furry, that they're spiny, and that they're insectoid. They're therefore exoskeletons.
They're not insect.
They look more leathery, really.
Yeah, they look like little soft leather, like, you know, like
leathery
skin.
insects as opposed to chitinous
They're not
insects.
insects.
Would they be the same
toes,
kind of
for
leather
goodness
as the kind of leather used in, say, Sharper's shoes?
I'm saying that they used no.
Same as
no. That
Escher's
bonehead
shirt.
Escher. Yeah, it's made out of borrow pelt. You can't tell me it's an insect.
It
'Cause
is.
He's not.
That's how he disappears. For some reason. I don't know. I read it somewhere.
It's borrow pelt. A pelt
Yes.
is not an exoskeleton.
I'm agreeing with you. Why are you disagreeing?
Okay. Oh, okay. I was like, that can't be an insect. I thought you told me.
Sure,
yes,
like
it is.
everyone's wrong in that, and I'm right, and even if you're agreeing with me, you're still wrong.
No, that's not what I meant.
That makes no sense.
It's exactly what she said.
I thought that Wolfgang said that it was an insect. I didn't hear wasn't.
Okay, was.
Thank you. Jeez, was not. There you go.
Or sure, I'd be correct grammatically.
Well, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be like totalitarian. My God, I'm not.
Yes, you did.
No, I am not. Gosh, I am.
She's going
humble.
to kill you, Nareem.
All right, just to cover the last,
as far as
last
I'm
couple
concerned,
of
I'm already dead.
The last couple of things.
Yeah.
The September Sparkly is found near that mysterious place where the link spot to the spy room is.
The niche.
And also, if you visit the cleft, you might find something new.
Ooh.
What, Janathus?
It's a new thing that you can take back to your Relto with you.
That makes it awesome. Screech! It's slightly aerially based.
My TCT cohorts are attempting to leave you clues as to what that thing might be.
They move in concentric circles. For no apparent reason.
And will scare the ever-loving bejeez out of you when you're standing in your Relto looking at your bookcase, and then all of a sudden, wow! You know, you're like,
Yeah, that is actually what happened to me. I just did that today when I was checking because you said the stuff wasn't there, and I checked to see if it still was. And I heard that, and I was like, what is that noise? The bow roar. I turn around like, oh, it's just the birds.
Yeah. Who said it?
What did you say?
The things.
The boiled.
The things.
Boiled.
Things.
Boyd. Anyway, yes. But
so that brings us to our close.
Oh yeah.
I think they were done.
Okay.
We pretty much spoiled everything.
Yeah. Wrap it up for TCT Talk. This has been
Wolfgang,
Janathus,
Anthony,
Nareem,
and me, Sherry, and we're signing off. Bye, everyone. That musical piece was Nola Bennett's Sunset by Jeff Wise. Now it's time for some thinking from one of our unforgettable characters. His thoughts, some Moog thoughts.
Hello again, this is Moog. Here in the USA, it's Saturday morning on the Labor Day weekend, and as I write this, I'm sitting on our patio, rattling away on my laptop, and keeping an eye on the smoker where a pork roast is hopefully becoming delicious. We're having family over this afternoon to celebrate my mother-in-law's birthday. And so with a birthday on a holiday weekend, the mood is one of celebration and reminiscence. And on that note, my thoughts turn to the Cavern today. We're approaching the end of our second full year of podcasting, and are planning to celebrate properly in our next podcast, which will be our 30th. So I won't dwell over long on that topic. I just wanted to add an early note of thanks to all of our listeners, as well as to our staff, past and present, who have contributed so much to make this little enterprise the success that it most definitely has been. What I did want to talk about this time is a little bit of magic that I experienced the other day for the first time. It took me long enough, but I finally got around to ordering the DVD of The Mantis Parable, the award-winning short film created by Joshua Staub of Cyan. Some of our long-time listeners may remember that we interviewed Josh on the Cavern Today some time back, and that was one of my favorite interviews. I do a bit of creative work myself, and it was a genuine treat to discuss the creative process with Josh and to learn more about his role at Cyan. The Mantis Parable is, as mentioned earlier, a short film. It's only about 8 minutes long, but the fact that a mere 8 minutes of film has garnered so many international awards speaks loudly about the quality of the work. Visually, the film is stunning. But more than that, the story that's related in that brief 8 minutes is a beautiful little fable of grace and forgiveness. I highly recommend it to all of our listeners. It's available on iTunes, although I opted for the DVD to get the additional documentary material. And I mentioned the Mantis Parable mainly to lead into Uru. I think there is a connection, and it's not just that Josh Staub has contributed to both projects. I've already mentioned that the Mantis Parable is visually striking. Any of you who have marveled over the realism and the depth of detail in the Pixar films will find a similar richness in Mantis. The modeling, texturing, lighting, rendering, and animation in Mantis Parable are a wonder to behold. Josh is a true master of his craft. In fact, the main difference I noted between Mantis and the Pixar works is that Pixar is able to stretch the magic out to 2 hours or so. But if you stay around the cinema long enough to read the credits after a Pixar feature, you can understand why. Pixar is able to call upon a veritable army of creative people, with the result that their films are epic, feature-length works that delight from beginning to end. The Mantis team, on the other hand, comprised only one person. Josh did everything from the initial concept to the storyboarding, character design, modeling, texture creation, set design, lighting, story, you name it. He even wrote and performed the beautiful musical score that you hear behind the scenes. In the documentary segments, Josh says that it took 1.5 years of work in his spare time and with his own equipment to create the Mantis Parable. His entire digital arsenal comprised 2 Dell PCs, just your basic mail-order Dells too, nothing elaborate, one to create on and one to render. He built Mantis using 3D Studio Max, the same application used by Cyan to create Ages, and rendered the whole thing with a free application that he downloaded. In fact, he says that the Mantis Parable represented an investment of only about $4,500, and that included some equipment that he already owned. And that's where I start thinking about Uru. Let's look back for a moment and take another look at Riven. I discussed Riven in our last podcast, and it's well worth mentioning again on its 10th anniversary. Riven was, in a way, the sort of adventure game that Pixar might produce if they were into that sort of thing. Riven was created by Cyan at their zenith, when they had the budget and therefore the staff to devote to a major project of the caliber of Riven. This was a game that provided considerable depth of content, from the splendid visuals all the way through the gripping story and puzzle integration. And it was this setting that provided the springboard for Uru, until business realities thickened the plot in an unfortunate way. Uru, as it now exists, is no longer the massive online epic for which Cyan had originally hoped. They've had to scale back considerably, even with funding and promotion from GameTap. There are 2 sides to this story. The first has been a topic that's recurred frequently on the forums, that of a general disappointment at the slow pace of the story, and the tenuous connection between players and story, and the dearth of activity between episodes. Cyan themselves have admitted that their staffing and budget are minimal at the moment, and that they'd like nothing better than to ramp up and give Uru the effort that it so justly deserves. And admittedly, to those of us who cut our teeth on Myst, Riven, and Real Myst, and their cousins Exile and Revelation, and of course End of Ages, the current state of affairs is rather frustrating. The days of immersing yourself in new adventures for weeks on end has given way to new adventures that might take hours to solve at most. The Myst worlds are so captivating that we very much want to be there, but it's getting harder to justify the hours of cavern time when the scenery changes very little and when there are frequently so few explorers online. But that's where I come back to the Mantis Parable. With Mantis, you know going in that it was created by a single person, and with that in mind, it's all that more impressive. Seen in this light, its brief running time doesn't disappoint. Actually, it's just part of the magic. I think that what many of us in the Uru community need to do is to adjust our expectations and to move away from comparing Uru to its forebears and start accepting it for what it is. Yes, the Mantis Parable was short, and yes, Uru seems to be coming at us slowly and in bits and pieces. But in the same way that Mantis's brevity can add to the experience, I think that Uru can be effective in the same way. The slow pace of Uru isn't the result of a huge creative staff that's hanging back and failing to deliver. What we're seeing is the output of a very small team working their hardest to make their dream a reality and putting that dream out there for us to share. I realize that I'm only echoing similar thoughts posted by Richard Watson a while back, but it's well worth keeping in mind. Uru will come slowly, at first anyway, and that's not a flaw. It's just the nature of the project at the moment. When you get bored with the game or frustrated, don't vent on the forums. Send a nice email to the staff at Cyan and let them know you love Uru and that you support them, because now is when they need our support more than ever. They need to know that we love Uru, even during the slack times when the cavern's nearly empty. The Mantis Parable and Uru were never intended to be massive generators of cash, although I'm sure their creators wouldn't mind if that happened to some degree. They are both works of art, and art happens on its own time, and not always under the best of circumstances. So your homework assignments between now and podcast 30 are to A, check out the Mantis Parable, and B, think about adjusting your perceptions of Uru, and let the slow pace become a part of the magic. For the Cavern Today, this is Mowag signing off.
Man, I sure wish the DRC hadn't fired Nick. Now we'll never get any new translations.
Yeah, too bad that Trisha person was a fake.
Whoa, where did you come from?
I came from up there, on that rooftop. The DRC rooftop.
Okay.
I used to work for the DRC, you know. You've probably heard of me. Trisha?
Oh, yeah? What's your last name, then?
Oh, my name is Trisha...
Did you say Lawson?
Yes, Lawson, that's me. Trisha Lawson, the famous DRC translator.
Well, then how come my key has you listed as Trisha Berkowitz?
Typo? I have some new translations. If I give them to you, you can share them with everyone.
You know, Trisha, you don't sound like...
I'm sorry, I have a cold.
So, Trisha, what have you got there?
Oh, these are from Turnbuckle, yes. The Secret Diaries of Turnbuckle.
And who, may I ask, is Turnbuckle?
The Great King's manicurist. Big prophet Turnbuckle was. Had lots of dirt on Alsander.
Okay, Trish. Shoot us some of Turnbuckle's prophecies, then.
There once was a king named Alsander, who went on a 7-day bender. He'll wake up one day in the future, they say, and his...
A limerick? Are you kidding me?
Oh, yeah. The best prophecies are always in rhyme.
Well, can you paraphrase? Just tell us what's gonna happen.
Sure. There will be a great civil war among the Barrow. The one known as Phil will return. The guilds...
That's already happened.
It has? Dang. Am I late? What day?
Are you sure you're the real Trisha?
Of course. Trisha Dawson. That's me.
Hey, there's Kate Alexander. We can ask her.
Will you look at the time? I've got a thing with a guy at a place.
Phil's coming back, huh? Cool.
Shut up.
And that brings us to the end of Podcast 29 and the anniversary of 2 years of podcasting. Of course, we couldn't have done it without the help of our wonderful staff at the Cavern today. To Al Hahn for his contributions to TCT Talk Part 1, the Mad Lib, and the Extra from the Future. Anthony for his contributions behind the scenes as well as TCT Talk Parts 1 and 2, Jeff Wise for his musical contribution Nola Bennett Sunset, Janathus for his contributions behind the scenes TCT Talk Parts 1 and 2 and Assembly, Just in Time 9 for his contribution to the Cavern Book Club ad, Miles for his behind-the-scenes efforts and his always lovely podcast cover artwork, Montgomery for the Guild of Plumbers and Sewage Workers and the other Trisha, Moog for the Cavern Book Club ad and his Moog Thought, Vid for his Extra from the Future contribution, and last but not least, Wolfgang for TCT Talk Parts 1 and 2. This is Sherry for the Cavern Today, signing off.